Perfect. Let me get that going. Okay. We are going. Let's get this on the road. So, welcome to the interview. Thank you for volunteering to help mock interview today. We got a new mock interviewer, which is really exciting because that means that I get to take vacation now. No, but today I'll still be shadowing for today, but I will be silent for most of the interview unless something I need to step in. And at the end, I will also still be providing feedback, so definitely look forward to that. Okay. Otherwise, feel free to take it away. Thank you so much.
All right. Can you guys hear me?
They can hear you.
Yes.
Okay. So let's get right into it. Today's question will be called max number of balloons. And right now, Harvey, I'm going to give you some time to read the question.
Oh, I should also mention, am I able to use Java for this?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
We can switch language. Okay. Okay. I'm still going to paste the question. You can read it, and in the meantime, I'll just change it to Java.
Okay, so given a string text, you want to use the characters of the text to form as many instances of the word balloon as possible. You can use each character in text as most once, and then return the max number of instances that can be formed. Okay, so essentially we're just given a string, and we want to see how many instances of the word balloon exist.
Yes, that's
and
right.
Each character only counts one time.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Why don't we start by talking about a few examples?
Okay. So Alright, so we want to see how many instances of the word balloon exist. I'm just trying to think if there was this built-in function to find words. I'm just trying to think if that would work. Okay, but I guess Serba asking some questions like, is there a chance that, for example, our string might be empty, for example?
Yes. Text
Okay.
may be empty.
Okay, so I'm just gonna take note of that. The text may be empty. Text may be empty, and then I'm assuming there's a chance that there might be 0 balloons.
Yes. Yes. In that case, you just return 0.
Any matches? I'll just say. Text may be empty. There might not be any matches. Use at least each character in the text most ones. Okay. All right. So I'm assuming we're probably going to have to track frequency of the characters.
Yes, that's right.
I'm just trying to think about how I would do that, because usually I would use a hash map.
Pretty good so far. By the way, I muted myself on Discord, but I should still be audible on recording.
Do you have, like, for example, an example string?
Which I think is the right way to do this.
Yeah, why not you think of example instead of me giving you one?
Okay, so I guess the characters that are not.
Anyways, welcome viewers. It actually feels
The
really
characters
weird that I
are not
can.
equal to blue.
I don't know, like,
are they
talk
just
while
random
it's going on.
characters?
I won't like tackle these people.
Can we
too
assume
much,
there are letters, or can they be characters?
but this
Yeah,
is the
that's
first
a
time I'm doing
great
this one.
question.
Let's
Let's
see what it is.
assume that there are only lowercase alphabetical characters here, so it's A to Z.
Okay, so
Leetcode.
is that would it be something like
Eat code indeed. That's a funny comment. I'll pin it. Let's see. Wait, is my Twitch
Yeah.
working? Okay, it is.
could this
That
be
could
like
be
a
an
valid?
example
Okay.
text.
Okay. Okay, and it's lowercase alphabet. All right.
I guess it also opens up to like if anyone has
so
any
pretty much
general
you can-
questions. I actually have time to look at the chat today. Holy cow, that's crazy.
I'm just gonna think we can actually probably keep track of how many times each letter occurs.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think if there's the easier, less brute force way to do that than just. I'm trying to see if I can use the array using ASCII, if that's possible, but I'm not sure.
Okay, so you want to use an array to keep track of the character frequencies.
Yeah, like using ASCIIs.
Oh, I should.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
In this case, just for simplicity's sake, why don't we use a hash map?
Hash map.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like you
TJ. Welcome.
Okay, so I would do.
Welcome.
So the method I'm thinking is like I will create a hash map with the key being the character and the value being the integer, and then I think I'll just go straight over each character in the string.
Yeah.
And then count the characters and how many times they occur.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And then I guess at the end we can take the characters of balloon and determine how many times we can assemble the word balloon. We just have to count for the L's and O's occurring twice.
Okay.
Does that make
sense? Yeah, that makes sense. Apart from the L's and O's, I don't think that's something that we need to particularly ruminate about. But everything that you said before that, up to like the point where we just need to, given that we have a character frequency of text, the next step is to just determine how many times we can form balloon from that character frequency map, right?
Yeah. No, because I was just thinking, because we said each character in the text can only be used at most once, right?
Yeah.
So then balloon and O's would be. So we can only use, for example, if we have like 4 L's in our frequency list, we would have to half that number, correct? And then same with O.
That is one approach of doing it, but why don't we think of like an easier way that makes it such that we don't have to care about those kind of small details.
Another way I think we can approach it without having to care about details like that is actually Hmm. Okay, I think I'm just gonna. I think I have an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Is it okay if I start implementing the solution?
I would appreciate if you tell me a high level solution first.
Oh yeah, so pretty much like I mentioned before, hash map, uh, iterate over the string,
Mm-hmm.
uh, counting the frequency, and then we can retrieve, for example, our letters are our balloon, so the BALON, and then we can calculate how many times we can build balloon using the
Yeah,
frequency of the characters.
that sounds exactly what I was expecting. So
Mhm.
can you elaborate a bit more that of like after we have the frequency map and we want to decide how many times we can build balloon, right?
Mhm.
So how will you go about that? I want to hear more about that.
How many times we can build the balloon?
Yes.
Okay, so we would have to, I guess, find the minimums of the frequencies.
Okay, that is a good approach.
So
Like,
we would see, for example, like what is the minimum value of every character, and then we could use, for example, like the math min function to do that, and then return whatever that minimum number is. Since
okay, I,
yeah,
I, I do agree with like the concept of finding a limiting factor, like
Mhm,
the letter that would stop us from constructing another balloon, right?
mhm.
But math min wouldn't work in this case. So um could you like try to think of another way?
You said math min wouldn't work in this case.
No, no, it wouldn't. Because let's say if even if like we had like for example 1A
Mhm,
um and two L's um sorry, basically what I'm trying to say is that um the absolute minimum character doesn't it didn't mean that it would be the limiting factor in this case. So yeah, there's no reason why like math min will be helpful
mhm.
here.
Oh yeah, because I was thinking, because I'm thinking like we would just find the minimum of B, A, and N, and then since L and O would occur twice, you can actually divide those by 2 and then find the minimum of 2 and then compare it to the other's minimum.
Yeah, actually, I think that will work. That will work.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
we can go with that approach.
is it okay to start?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we can start.
So I'm just gonna start by creating a map. One is gonna have a key gonna be a character and our value is gonna be an integer. We'll call this text map just for simplicity.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, and then we're gonna count each character in our text. So RC in text. Array. Okay. So there's actually, instead of counting every single character, I'm pretty sure there's a function we can use. It's it's the only, well, only it returns true, or it'll return if that character is actually a value in text. So for example, like the letters we're tracking are BALON. we say this BL index of C. So just pretty much say if the current C or character is BALON, then we'll just say if this is not equal to -1, so it means it's true. Then we'll put in the map because I don't think we really want to count.
Is this supposed to be an if?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. It's supposed to be if. Okay. Yeah, so if the current character is BALON, and
Okay.
if that so this is not equal to -1, meaning it's true, then we'll put in the map because I don't think we really want to track the other characters. So map. That's map dot what? C, and since we're going to be counting frequency, we probably want to use the get or default function for the value. So text map dot get or default, and let's get the value of C or 0, and then increment it by 1. And then, okay, so I think this should be good for counting the frequency of the characters in text.
Yep.
Okay. And now we can get our counts and compare values. So so we can actually do this. I'll do this like this. I'll do int. We can do them all separately, just to like so it's easier to visualize. Yeah, or default. Since yeah, and also we want to use get our default here just in case the value is 0. Or sorry, we don't have an occurrence of the character.
So you're going to create like a variable for each character here?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, and then for the example where there's B or there's ALON and there's no B, we'll use the get or default, and then which will either give us either give us a value for B or 0.
Okay.
And then we'll just repeat this for A L O N okay, so now for L and O, I think we can actually divide this number by 2, since our string contains 2 L's and 2 O's. So we would have to divide this number by 2 and then use that as the minimum. So we can actually, for the actual minimums, we can I would compare the minimum between, for example, B and A, and then L and O.
Why don't you put everything into maybe an array and you just min?
Okay, an array.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do that. So we could, let's see. Okay, yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, okay. So we can actually, Are you saying like put everything into an array and then iterate over it, finding whatever the lowest number is?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I'll start with an array. And then our we'll have it in max number of balloons equals, we'll just initialize this integer dot max value, and then we'll iterate over our arrays. So of int a val in our minimum array and our values will equal math dot min between this and our val, and then we'll just return that. Is that
Okay.
okay?
I'm not that familiar with Java syntax, but
Okay.
is
I think,
this a valid way to write a for?
yeah, it is. This is like if you just
Okay.
have a single line
All right.
statement, but essentially,
Okay. Awesome.
yeah.
Okay. This looks like it will work to me.
Mhm.
Okay. Now I'm gonna give you some follow-ups. So my first follow-up is, instead of always having balloon, let's say now we want to parameterize that. I'll add another parameter called word. And now what I want you to return is max number of words that we can form. So instead of max number of balloon, it now becomes max number of words. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
How will you modify this algorithm?
Okay. So we're like in your case, we're completely removing the balloons, correct? Like the balloons aspect is totally gone. It's just words now.
Yeah. So we do the same thing that we were doing with balloon, just with word. And it can be any word in the lowercase alphabet.
Okay, so originally we were counting what? I think just to be ALON. So instead of that, because that's specific only to balloons, we would probably want to not specifically count just those letters, but all characters in the text. Do we have max number of words? Is this like any word we can create, or is there a target word, or?
Sorry, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean by any word?
Because you said the max number of words, correct? Like, do we have for example, target words, or is it, or are we just trying to
so
find?
word will be our target.
Yeah. So like, oh, sorry, I didn't even see that word. Okay, yeah, so this is our target word, correct?
Yeah.
And then text is the word, or the where we have to find our word in.
Yeah, text remains exactly the same as part one.
Okay. Yeah, so we would have to. I think we can still use a hash map.
Yeah, that's right.
We can actually, we could take a similar approach where instead of having this hard coded, we can add the, I think we can add the functionality of finding the characters in Word. Do the same approach, or we can just track. Yeah, I'm just gonna think about this.
For sure. But you're on the right track.
Okay. Yeah, so I think I would remove this and just track the characters. And instead of having this hard coded here, yeah, so track characters using the hash map we were, and then instead of having this here, I would, so I would have a different way of, I guess, counting the minimum. So instead of, I wonder if those, yeah, okay, so track the characters here, and then we can iterate, I guess, for each character in the word, we can pull that character from our, for example, map, and then find whatever that frequency is. So if we pull it from the map, it'll give us the value, which will be the frequency. And then we can compare that to example, like this will be max number of words. So we can compare it to the minimum of that and then iterate over each character, if that makes sense. So
I don't think I'm really able to follow.
yeah, sorry, this sounded a little confusing. Okay,
maybe we could start by thinking about how do we need to change this 16 to 20.
okay, so I would start with. I would like. Would you like me to implement?
Yeah. We
Okay.
can straight away start changing it.
I'm gonna just remove this, so it's kind of out the way.
Oh, maybe let's not remove that first. Let's
Oh,
just think
okay.
about 16 to 20.
Okay, 16 to 20. So since this is hard coded, this part specifically, I think I would just remove this.
Oh, there's no need to remove it.
Oh, sorry, no need to
entirely.
remove. Oh, just
Yeah,
you want me just like
we just need to
explain.
modify it.
Modify?
Yeah, we just need to modify this.
Okay.
Because this already does something that we need, right? Which is building a frequency map of things in text. So just one little part that we need to change here.
This portion.
Yeah.
I think I can't remember if Java's if I can add just word here, if that'll work or not.
Okay. Alternatively, we could also just remove it.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
just
you're
to keep it
Yeah, just to keep it simple.
simple.
Since we know that the alphabet is really small, so text
Okay.
map will be very small.
So
We can do that.
character also CNR.
Okay.
This should be fine still, this portion. I don't need to change the names of this.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so now we're not actually counting BALON, so I think I should be. I think there is an easier way to use this for word because this is hard set to balloon, so I think I can actually remove this. Is that fine?
Okay.
Okay. And this is also hard set. Okay, so now we're going to be, let's start with this. So max number of words. We're going to start with the max value. And okay, so I think we could use a loop. I think we can loop through each character of word and use that to pull the values from hash map.
Yes, that is something that we could do.
Let me see. We're just gonna have to. So, like for example, how Balloon had. We know Balloon had like 2 repeats, like 2 duplicates. We're just gonna have to account for duplicates in, for example, words. So just
not only do we need to care that there are duplicates, but for example, I could have a word like, for example, I don't know. Let's give an example like bookkeeping. Like, I don't know. Like this has like a lot of duplicates.
Yeah.
And I could have something that even has like this is a nonsense word, but it has like 4 E's in it.
Yeah.
And 2 F's. So yeah, that's something that we care about, right?
Yes, I'm thinking we could pull. So we could have like a for loop for every character in word, and we can get the value of the character. So that's how many characters that's the amount of characters we have for that specific character, like the count for that specific character. And then we could also calculate how many of those characters we need by iterating over the word.
Yeah, exactly. So isn't this like really similar to something that we already did?
Yeah. Yeah. So I would just say retrieve the value from hash map of the frequency and then count the frequency in the word and then compare the two. Or sorry, not compare the two, but figure out the minimum between our current minimum here and those 2 numbers, and then iterate over every character and then return the result.
Yeah.
Okay.
On a high level, that makes sense to me.
Yeah. Should I implement it? Is it good to implement?
Yes, I think we can implement the part where we construct the two frequency maps first, and then later we can think about how to find the quote unquote minimum limiting factor character.
Okay. Do we need two frequency maps? Because I think we can do it with just. So the way I'm thinking about doing it is. Here. Maybe this will be again. So for the figuring out which character we're dealing with, or I was thinking we can just grab the character from the word itself.
Yeah, that makes sense. But let's say you can make many instances of word.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say word is very long, then you would sort of unnecessarily be iterating over words many times, right?
Right. Okay, so then we would have to also. Okay, so yeah, that makes sense. That would be pretty redundant. So we could create a hash map for the word. So we would just like pretty much exactly like what we did for this text, except for word. And then for each would map work or right. Oh yeah, we would need a map, not okay, yeah. So then we could exactly the same way for text map or for word map. And then we would iterate over, for example, the word map key set. And then we would take the value of the character in the text map and the word map, divide the two, and then find the minimum between the result and that. If that makes sense.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. That makes sense.
Okay, so I'm just going to create the map. I'm just going to start copying and pasting just for. Okay. This would be a word map, and then I should be able to just get to see in a word. Sorry, word map, but that should be fine. And then this is going to be that. Okay, so when we're actually iterating through, it should not be word. It should be, let's say word map. We'll use word map, and then the key set of word map.
Yeah.
And then now we can just take the values of the two sort of our text map. Let's say our char is available. Text map, and like how we did before, get our default space at 0. And then should be able to actually so this is the one. This is what's called required. And then you should be just able to assign the min between
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a quick question.
Mhm.
Is it possible that we'll have some zero division error here?
Yeah, that is possible. uh, okay, yeah. So chars available, there's a chance we don't have any, but in the chars required, it's gonna never be 0. Or else we would not require it that way. But there's a chance we still divide by 0.
Actually, let's think, is this zero division error like possible in the first place? If it's 0, would it be in the key set?
No. Because it's only added in if it exists.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. So like we don't need to worry that this is 0, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome.
I think that should be good.
And this should be get.
Oh yeah, sorry, get. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. I think this approach will also work.
Okay.
That's great. Now we have around like 8 minutes left.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm going to give you just one more follow-up. Instead of just a string, let's say it's an array of strings. Like this. How will you modify? And instead of returning just one integer, let's return a list of integer that each reflect the maximum occurrence of words that you can form from text.
It contains, sorry, obviously, what was you, it contains the maximum number of words?
So it essentially, from this list of words, we want to output a list of integers that correspond to the maximum number of instances that we can form word from text. How will we modify this?
Okay, so we have text is just one string, correct?
Text just remains the same. Yeah.
Okay, so we already have our text map, so that would be fine. So the difference would come in the actual word map. So we would have to create a word map essentially for each word.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say we would create a word map for each word. And then I would just say essentially is wrap this section in a loop for each word in words.
Yeah. Why don't we go ahead and do that?
Okay. So let's just a string word and word. And then and that. Okay, so word and word.
Okay.
Create a word map. Okay, so we create our word map. It's the word.to char array. That's fine because we already have word line max number of words. This will probably, so this would have to change because,
Really?
or I would say we would change naming maybe just to be more clear, but
Okay.
I'll just leave it for now.
I think it's
That's
fine.
value and C ignore key set. This should be all fine. I would just the only difference here is actually we want to return as this integer. So number of birds. And we'll return
Yeah.
this, and then every time we find our max, I would just say number of birds dot add. Oh, that should be good. This is for a loop.
Yeah.
Add it
Yeah.
at the end. Return. Yeah, I think that should be fine.
Yeah. That is good to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I think that can be the end of our interview.
Mm-hmm.
Is it okay if I give you my feedback now?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So um, I'm gonna split my feedback into like before, during, and after coding. So
Okay.
um, before we start coding, I like that you asked about the input and output parameters.
Yeah.
That was great. I gave you the prompt to talk about examples. I think it'd be better if like you kind of proactively did it.
Mm-hmm.
Examples are always like very, very important when it comes to these problems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ideally, you'll want to give an example and you'll dry run it, your overall approach after you have kind of sketched it out.
Mm-hmm.
And that brings me to my next point, which is you brought up like the character frequency point, which
Mm-hmm.
is really good, because that's basically like the essence of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you also brought up hash map really early on, which I
Yeah.
like
Mm-hmm.
because that's the correct data structure. One other thing that I also like is you kind of checked in with the interviewer. Is it okay if I start implementing this? Like, and you ask me questions sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is a balance. Like, obviously, you don't want to ask your interviewer like every single thing,
Yeah.
but keeping me like looped in like is a very good thing because
Mm-hmm.
that allows me to help you, and that overall just makes it easier to follow what you're doing. So
Yeah.
I think you should keep doing that. Okay, so for the points of improvement, I think. Oh, okay. Sorry. Before I talk about points of improvement, there's one more good thing which I think you did, which you're quite good at taking hints. Every
Mm-hmm.
time I say something, I felt that you took the time to understand what I was saying firstly
Mm-hmm.
and take action on it. Like this sounds like a bit obvious, but there are a lot of people that I've interviewed before and seen that they kind of just like ignore what the interviewer says
Mm-hmm.
when they don't understand what the interviewer is saying.
Yeah.
Um, and or they just like sort of like argue back and say like, oh, my method is better,
Mm-hmm.
when like in reality you shouldn't be doing that. Like the interviewer has done the problem many times and they're
Mm-hmm.
also like they're gonna say a hint for a reason.
Yeah.
So yeah, keep doing that for sure. That's very
Mm-hmm.
good. um okay, now for the point of improvement. So ideally you want to be really sure on your high level solution before you start a code, unless like in like very like I guess like limited situations where like you really think that like writing out some code will make it easier for you to think.
Mm-hmm.
Ideally you want to be like super concrete and get the interviewer to agree on a high level solution before you start a code.
Mm-hmm.
Because what will happen if you don't do this beforehand is that you'll start coding something and then you realize that you have to erase everything because you were wrong.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, so I would like, I think one way you improve is like be more sure before you want to jump into the coding. Like you don't
Mm-hmm.
have to rush into coding. Okay, I'm gonna move on to the during coding part. So
Yeah.
one thing I like is that you're like narrating your ideas quite clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a few negative points like places of improvement. From the get-go, you are not using like the cleanest code structure. For example, like loops and arrays. Like for example, you're hard coding the variables for each character.
Yeah.
It worked for balloon, like because balloon is like a really short word. But
Yeah.
ideally, you want to use like clean coding practices from a get-go, especially loops and arrays, which are really basic. And also, I think one way you could improve is to get better at the Java default library. Like I think there is like something that will help you get a minimum of an array in Java. Admittedly, like I'm not that great in Java, but I think it'd be good to familiarize yourself more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would just help you save time and yeah. Okay. Okay, so feedback regarding the follow-up. I think ideally it would be great if you gave just like even very quickly an example for the follow-up. Like I'm a big like harper on like examples. Like there's so many interviews where people will just like screw up because they don't understand the question, and why they don't understand the question is because they didn't go through an example. So I think another example here would be great. I think it would be great if you thought a lot more. There are quite a bit of like prolonged silence, which I think it's okay if like you're a beginner, but as you progress, you might want to like reduce that as much as possible. And one way to do that is just like just think aloud more. Yeah. Okay. So for the how to solve this problem is you want to have a hash map for Word as well, right? I think you might want to get a bit more familiar with your data structures, like for example hash map. Then it will click for you like, okay, I need to use a hash map for Word like very quickly. Just practice like the hash map problems more. Yeah, this is sort of just an issue of practice.
Yeah.
And one thing I really like though is that your variable names are very good. You won't believe like the number of people that name like their things like single variables or like very bad names. Your variables are very good, like cars available, cars required. I really like that you took the time to think of very good names there.
It's because
keep doing that.
one of my teachers literally would not let us hand in our assignments if we didn't have good variable names. So
that's a great teacher.
Yeah,
that's a great teacher. Like even if you're doing Leetcode for yourself, like you should name your things properly.
Yeah.
Okay. The last follow-up. I think overall you got it very quickly for both of the follow-ups. But last follow-up, I think you should have asked more, clarified more about the problem. So one question that I was expecting you to ask is text shared between all the words? Like you get what I mean? Like in this case, you're lucky because you guessed correctly, but I could have like stipulated a different thing, and then you would have just like done the wrong thing, and we have to like rewind.
Yeah.
So it's always better to like err on the side of caution, unless like it's really obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, overall, just one feedback. I feel that for Leetcode, it might be better to use Python. Like this is sort of like my own opinion, but I think like, for like, you know how like different languages have different purposes. Like Python is a Leetcode language. So for example, just to give you one example, like this function here, like you can do it in one line in Python. So this will sort of output a frequency map for you. So it's just a way less verbose. Like if you want to find a minimum of array, you just do like min like array, and then it gives you the minimum. Yeah. Just like some of my friends, like they switch from Java to Python, and after that they just found it like a lot easier to do Leetcode.
Yeah.
But obviously this is not like a forced thing. Sorry?
I've been thinking about it, but I don't know. Every time it comes around, it's always like interview season, so then
Yeah, for sure. I understand. It's hard to switch, but after I switched, I was a lot happier. Okay, I think that's all my feedback. Leo, do you have feedback?
I thought you were very thorough, so I'll just say a couple words here. I mean, first of all, thank you for conducting the mock interview. I thought that was great.
Yay.
Yeah,
Thank
no, I
you.
think you did great. I guess the main thing is, I thought the only thing I'll add to this that I think could be a consideration is a time management. I think time management could be something that you look into a bit. Now, I know that for mock interviews, it can be a bit awkward in terms of like what we want to focus on, but I think generally brought up a couple good points regarding all the various follow-ups, questions to ask, how to approach that kind of thing. I think that's the most important part. But if you feel like you're getting good at that, next I will work on time management. Now, specifically, what am I talking about? I would say there's a couple of things that you can do in this interview that would have helped you a bit earlier. The first thing is a lot of the practice for time management happens before the interview. For example, right, regardless of the question, you should always have a layout or a plan ready to go, right? That way you won't forget things like asking about examples or coming up with that kind of thing, right? So, like that's an example of preparing for time management rather. And then lastly, I also want to make sure that you have enough time at the end so that's not rushed. Now, what that might look like is if this is a problem where they're planning to ask about the time and space complexity, you want to make sure you leave time for that. Okay?
Yeah.
If you sense that there's a follow-up coming, you want to make sure you leave time for that. Or alternatively, if you feel like you're not doing very well, you're not getting to the follow-up question, which that happens to me as well. If that's the case, clarify what's going on. Say, hey, just want to clarify, hey, what is the goal here? Are we going to be solving this problem? Should I be optimizing this for a follow-up? Should I just be considering this as a whole problem, right? Asking for some guidance during the interview about what the expectations are can also help guide what you spend your time on, right? As an example, for this problem here, now you wouldn't have known if there was a follow-up and or if you would have known what the follow-up was, obviously, right? But there are some things that you could have potentially invested some time on at the beginning that would have helped you a lot on the follow-up. For example, to build on what Jin said about the clean code section, what I had in my notes was writing some helper functions. So, for example, one of the helpers I had recommended is a function that converts a word to the frequency map. Now, you wouldn't notice that would have actually helped you twice in the follow-up, right? So, something like that. Now obviously it's going to take you a bit more time to make that into a helper than just putting the main function. I understand that, but right, time management skills also is a part of that. Is part of that equation where you need to know, okay, this is a common function. I need to know how to do it. I'm going to break this down into a helper so I can call it in later on. Versus, hey, I think this is a very small part of the question. I don't think the follow-up question, if there is one, will be based on this problem, so I won't make a helper, right? That takes a bit of experience and practice to get used to. But this is a case where that actually was a major part of the question, and it would have definitely benefited from being a helper. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Cool. Yeah, that's that. Yeah, but I think I generally covered everything very well. That's all I'm going to say on my side as well. Yeah, I think that was well done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome.
Okay, I saw a comment from Eric here. Eric's been spamming the chat. I'm sorry. You should debate at the interview as to why Java was better. Like, I won't really comment. Oh, I will comment on that briefly, actually. I think that's not. I think Python is a better language for interviewers, for interviewing. However, if you're not strong in Python yet, you're going to be adding overhead to learning that, right? So again, what I would say is that in the short term, definitely still use Java for your interviews just to pass the rounds and whatnot, right? But if you see yourself, especially for more junior still, you got more interviews ahead of you in the future, it's just a matter of time before you do get held back on more difficult interviews due to Java. Now, what I'm going to say is that, and this I'm biased because I think that I'm a good interviewer. Good interviewers will not ask questions that require language features, right? Now, there's a debate. For example, is converting a string to a frequency map a language feature? Most people would say no, because only Python has that utility. And honestly, if that is a major part of the question in Python, they would actually probably ask you, oh, you cannot use that helper. You need to write out yourself, right? Now, that being said, is it a bad thing to use counter? They're never going to go like, oh, use counter minus 5 points. No, they're going to go like, okay, either you're allowed to use it, which is obviously very beneficial, or you're not allowed to use it and say, oh, hold on a second, you can't use that, in which case you lost 5 seconds. So, it's a case where there's no downside. This is we call it downside insurance. Now, on the other hand, right, there is a way to do that in Java too, right? Now, you could do the for loops, you can do the basic stuff. In Java, what I would recommend is getting into the Streams API. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
In the Streams API, then you can do this. It's still not going to be one line. It's going to be about 3 lines. But it's one of those things where you have to know it. Okay? You're going to get asked string questions in in interviews, you're going to get asked list question interviewers. You have to know how to use streams if you are planning to stay in Java land.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are the things I would say on that one. Short term, stay in Java, not a problem. Long term, if you're going for more interviews, especially if you're going for more interviews that are going to require, that's less about like, let's say, basic manipulation, a lot more about algorithms, then that's where Python's going to start to build up an advantage. Okay, but yeah, I think in this case, I don't think it was really Java that held you back. I think you still did fine.
Yeah. And then I guess as for advice is switching to Python, do you think I should just start solving in Python, like Java and Python, and then slowly just switch over? Or do you think I should just like?
Well, what's your background in Java? Like, are you using Java only for Leetcode, or are you also using it for your projects?
Leetcode.
Okay.
Yeah, Leetcode.
Okay. Well, if
I
you're
would
only
just say
using
it's my most proficient. That's why. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Well, if you're only using for Leetcode, I'd say there's no reason to use Java anymore. If you're planning to switch, just switch straight to Python immediately. So what I would do in this case is I would actually just straight Python. You know, you are going to, and of course you're going to have to Google the syntax. That's all fine, right? So just do that. And then what I would do is, you know, at the beginning be really slow. That's okay, right? And when you're practicing problems in Python, you account for the fact that you'll be slower, right? So let's say usually you're doing these problems maybe 30 minutes in Java, right? Give yourself 40, 45 minutes in Python. And then over time, that gap will shrink, and then you'll overcome even, let's say, even 30 minutes. Maybe you get it down to 25, which is a very big advantage. Okay.
Yeah.
What I would do is really, if you don't have if you, for example, if you're not actively working on Java in your personal products or at co-op or in your in class or something, there's really not much advantage to continue working on that right now. So that's something to consider. I would just switch right away if I were you.
Yeah, I don't think I really need it. It's just helpful because it's like object-oriented language, so it kind of helps with co-ops and stuff. But besides that, I don't really need it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, you know, some of the other interviews I do, like for example, you know, the object-oriented design. Those ones actually, it's more popular to do in Java almost because it has, you know, the tools in Java are then beneficial, you know, in Java. So, you know, it's totally fine to kind of switch the tools based on what you're doing. For Leetcode, you're really not going to benefit much from the Java specific features like, you know, the classes, all the, you know, all the overhead that's associated with that. So for that one, I would switch. But yeah, if you end up practicing object-oriented stuff, which you could also do in Python, by the way. But yeah, for that one, I would say there's a stronger argument to do those in Java still.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Was that anything else you wanted to ask?
No, I think that's all.
All right. Well, thanks for coming out. That's all we. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's it. By the way, Jen, I'll DM you some notes after. We can chat after, but I'm gonna switch it to the resume review portion now. So we'll you know we'll call it here for now.
Nice.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, guys. Take care.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Let me just save this for myself. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. There we go. Some stuff going on, some stuff popping off in chat which I missed. So I'm gonna just quickly go through that right now, and then we're gonna move on to the the resume review. How am I not logged in? Continue with Google. Okay, now I'm logged in. All right. A lot of stuff was popping off there, which I think I missed. Mostly just Eric's found in the chat, so no way it's relevant. I'm skipping all of Eric's messages. Boom, boom, boom. Streams are so goated in Python. Oh, hi, Riley. Missed you earlier. Should have chosen Bash. Yeah, people use Bash sometimes for actually some interviews. You know, it's not really Leetcode or OOP or OOD. It's really about you know, it's really a systems level interview where there might be some specific questions about implementation. So for example, a very common one you might see online is like, hey, how many different IPs hit your network in the last month? And that would be the kind of problem which you can really whip out really quickly in Bash, right? So actually, people joke about Bash. Actually, it could definitely be useful sometimes. All right, so many Java streams at my work, correct. Topes, I love streams, correct. What is the queue for the mock? How long is the wait? I'm not gonna show that on stream, but let me just check for you. I think it's like 40 weeks technically speaking, but I know that about half of these are automatic disqualifications. Okay, so yeah, I've filtered a lot of these out already. Right now, there's one more I have scheduled for next weekend, which is coming up. That person's confirmed, and then I know the one I scheduled after that ghosted, so I'm gonna reschedule that one. So 1, 2, and then that is 10 or so. So 12 weeks, but I think you can cut that down further to about 6 or 7, realistically speaking. So I would say, honestly, 6 to 7 weeks. Maybe a bit more. Between 6 to 7 and 10. It is so hard to stay consistent with Leetcode for longer than a month. That's true. I mean, even when I was grinding Leetcode back in like university, I was only able to do like what do you call it? Maybe like, let's say 2 to 3 a week for like, I don't know, a couple months, and I wasn't even like grinding that hard. You know what I mean? Okay, let me post a form. Resume form. Wait, it's in my own chat. Hold on a second. Sign up, resume review. Does this form work? Let's see. Yes. Okay. Cancel. Submit resume. Boom. I don't want to mute this person. What am I doing? Okay. Pin. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, submit resumes in the form. We'll let a couple. You know, usually I let these guys go for a couple minutes, and then we'll come back. Submit resume and pin message. SMG. Whatever. Don't care. One day I'll be interviewed by 10. Yeah, you could sign up. I'll probably just deny you forever though. I regret not having done Leetcode while being employed, not to ramp back up. Yeah, actually, that's actually really interesting. At when I was at Amazon, basically everyone knew they were gonna quit. Like everyone knows that everyone's gonna quit, and so they were like people were just like discussing Leetcode on Slack and stuff. It's like, yeah, how would you do this question? And then we had a joke which was like, oh yeah, we're doing Leetcode to practice for our interviews of other people, not for our own interviews, because a lot of us were also interviewers at Amazon. Is YouTube Omniverse a YouTube bot? I don't know. They just said Leetcode as a first message, so I pinned it because it's kind of funny. I have no idea who they are. TG, have fun, man. Take care. Society, LOL. Hi, Society. Where do you post resumes? In the pinned comment. Please follow the instructions for redacting your name, though. What about JavaScript for Leetcode? Dude, actually, unironically, JavaScript is not bad. You just have to know its limitations, and it does have limitations, right? So for example, in JavaScript, you might have to roll your own data structures much more often, right? Like for example, if you want to use a queue or stack, just use a list data type, that's all fine, right? But if you're going to be using trees, heaps, anything that's sorted, JavaScript's not really going to have that. That's going to be more difficult, right? Now, what I have seen people do in the past, now I don't know that candidate passed the interview, so, just a disclaimer. What they did was they said, hey, look, I know, we're using JavaScript for the interview. I'm not the most proficient in all of the data structure. That interview was for JavaScript. So what I was told was that they were making a lot of assumptions. Like they said, hey, for example, I know in every relevant language there is a sorted list after data type. I don't know what it's called in JavaScript. Can I just assume this list is sorted? And so, the worst case is if you say, I don't know how to do this in JavaScript, but I know this is a very common thing. They might let you slide. But I would avoid JavaScript if you know another language like Java or Python. But if that's your only language, that's what you got. You got to work with it. It's not a killer. Bring up that GIF. I don't think you can post GIFs in YouTube. Thank the fucking Lord. God damn. Switch to Python. Need to submit myself for mock then. They can never take Java from us. Java's a good language for OOD interviews, but for Leetcode, it's just a bit slower. It's fine. It's just a bit slower. I submit my interview mock interview to still qualify. It's fine. I can see the timestamp, so as long as you're not abusing the system, it's chill. Okay, let me find what's it called? Resume, spreadsheet review, responses. Here we go. Okay. Oh man. I've had this forum for longer than a year now. I just realized the first day. It's been September 2024. So, okay. Anyways, we got some stuff going on. So, we have some submissions. We'll just get started on these while I also read chat. Feel free to keep asking in the chat, by the way. I'm happy to talk. All right. How do I download? They changed the UI again? Where's the download button? Here it is. All right. All right, our first one here today. Targeting backend or dev tooling, still sort of exploring things. Anything those areas would be ideal. Targeting companies, maximize salary and growth opportunities, not specific big tech, anything like that. Okay, let's look at where you're from. You're from that place. Okay. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. What's the color today, guys? Let's do like green. Let's do like, yeah, that's nice green. Are you going to be a mentor at NW Hacks? I'm going to be a mentor at NW Hacks. Yes, I will. Okay, little profile here. That's fine. I'm usually not a fan of profiles, but honestly, this is taking up not much space at all, so it's like whatever. Let's look at your languages. Symfony. I haven't seen Symfony in a minute. Liquid base. I don't know that. That's cool. The Nginx on. Okay. Neo4j SQLite. Do you have a cloud here? You have Azure. You have Azure and Docker. Okay. You have a project that's ongoing. This is a new project. Education. Oh, I guess you put your city there. Okay, that's cool. All right. This is present. So this is, and you're working. So you're working continuously for over a year now. Year and a half now. Oh, and then you were before that. You had a work term and you worked for a pretty long time. What? This is for. Oh, that's a lot of time. Okay. Okay. I see. Where's your This is 2021. Okay. So this is like a part time. This is part time or is this full time? I'm not sure about this. This is a lot of stuff. Anyways, okay. Weeks to minutes. This is really good. Opening point. This recovered a 6+ week deployment outage. That's a long outage. That's good. Optimization model, 60 endpoints, recent 60 risk deployments. Okay, that's hard to quantify. I can let that slide. Blah 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 blah. Okay. Coordinating pre-production is major enterprise client, enabling consistent quarterly releases. Coordinating pre-production and production handoffs for a major enterprise client. Coordinated pre. Okay. This point feels a bit weaker because it's not really clear what you were doing. For example, this point is much better because we can tell what you did and what the outcome was. Right, this point, it's I mean, this is like just big number, but like, I don't know, it's all right. Internship was part-time. If it's part-time, that makes sense because otherwise I was like, that's really surprising. Okay, Saskatchewan Polytechnic DICE. Front-end architecture is atomic design, center UI development by 62%, 20 bucks, okay. Using atomic design, I might, depending on what's going on here, I might cut that out. I would more so show that, and you already kind of said that by having some good numbers here. You don't list the architecture here though, right? What's a front? I don't see anything here. You don't have a front end tech listed here. I will put it in here. Maybe you can replace this with a front end tech. Onboarding material, that's chill. Technical guides, single source of truth. I would probably combine these 2 points together, honestly. In the guise of writing better docs, I think those two can probably be combined. But you have, I guess you have space. You have space to keep them separate. If you're gonna run out of space, combine these two. Okay, containerized stuff, converted technical into partial. Okay. So this one could also be combined if you're out of space. By itself, it's kind of weak. The point. Okay. An interactive visitor guide, web app, containerized full application, deliver Azure. Okay, does you have Azure here? Over here, Docker. What is this? What is the tech stack here? Docker here. Okay. And your current project, TypeScript, React, Python, Flask. Okay. This is obviously new, so I won't comment on that. Okay. I mean, that's fine. A couple of things I would say is that you have a lot of space here. I want to see a focus. Since you're working on a project right now, I want you to focus on things that you don't have in your resume that aren't very strong. For example, what I don't see right now is I know you have a lot of deployment stuff going on, right? A lot of deployments, a lot of good stuff over here. Not as much stuff that are, if you're going for career development, you got to be more well-rounded on the full stack side of things, right? So you basically got the infra side fully covered, no problem there. I would put a lot more focus on, depending on what you did over here, put a lot more focus on the front end. So for example, if this was actually a really substantial front end project, you want to indicate that. Right now it doesn't sound that substantial, to be honest. Okay, so if it is substantial, reword the point, make it a bit bigger. If it's not substantial, make sure you got a good front end over here, right? Make sure it's hosted, make sure people can visit it. I would say that's probably the best guidance I can give for what you're working on right now. Good to see you're working on a project though. That's always good. All right, let's take a look. Anything going on there? Yeah. I'm trying to figure it out. Yeah. Okay. Where's this Saskatchewan not censored? Yeah, they forgot to redact the word Saskatchewan, unfortunately. So that might be a bannable offense. We'll see. Okay, next one. Okay, let's take a look. This guy looks fine. Okay. All right, this guy's comment. I should think is this one. Let me check. Yes. Okay, this guy's comment, trying to get internship full stack or front end. Full stack or front end. Okay, let's see. Full stack, C++ first, TypeScript, JavaScript, split that up. Node, okay. ESP32 toolchain, that's interesting. I guess that's C++, right? Okay. Okay, this is a little while ago. EA Talent Marketplace, front-end developer for... Okay, so you were there for like 6 months. Real-time notification pipelines. Modular, okay. Built and deployed referral workflow, API front-end send grid using menu. Okay, so this is obviously... These are, sound like the bulk of the experience. Like, you need more points here. Okay, now I don't know what happened here, but you need more points. This is 6 months. This is your only experience on the resume. You need to expand this out. Okay, let me read the projects first, but this probably needs to be at least 6 points based on what I'm seeing here. Okay, let me see. Hackathon project. Okay, pretty cool. This is not what you're asking for, right? You're asking for a full stack front end. What is this? This is a hackathon project. Okay, so here's the thing, right? Your hackathon project has 4 points. Okay, like that's cool, but like this is not full stack or front end. You know what I mean? Like this is neither, and it's 4 points. You gotta change your priority there. Okay, what is this? Hackathon winner. That's good. More stuff here. Okay, so this is also not front end or full stack. Okay, so that's some consideration. Full stack productivity platform. Full stack project. Okay, hackathon cycle. Okay, that's also so these are actually all hackathons. Or was this not a hackathon? This was a user in a hackathon. Okay, that's a bit confusing. Optimized Firestore. Okay, so this is a bit of backend, but I'm cautious calling Firestore backend. I don't think Firestore is a real backend in that it's very good for acting like a backend, but you don't use any backend skills when interacting with Firestore. So, or Firestore, Firebase, same thing, right? So, okay, but this is lacking a little bit. I would say maybe you can expand on the front end here. Like, what's the front end look like? What's the client experience looking like, right? Yeah, this is chill. This is good. I like volunteer. This is good. That's fine. This is also good. This is fine. Okay, so I mean, look. All I can say here is that the priority seems be a bit back. Let me just make sure I read the right guy. Hold on. Let me just make sure this is the right guy. Right? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you're seeing front end. Yeah, front end full stack. Look, I actually don't see any front end here. Actually, you have a front end over here in terms of UI, but this is just a single point, and it's unclear what's going on, like the technology here. I mean. And full stack, you have you have Node over here, but that's a hackathon scope. You have Firestore here, which is not really backend skill. So I would say you probably want to, work on a project or something that demonstrates full stack, right? Just get a generic full stack web app out there, right? Hit the bullet points, and then go from there. Right now, this is a bit of a hard sell. It's a bit of a hard sell for a front end full stack. Made it a hackathon. A user in a hackathon made it into a personal project. Yeah. So look, if you're still, this is a year ago now, so it doesn't sound like you're working on this, but I mean, like if you do have some full stack tech here, I would definitely expand on that one right now, especially if you can clarify the front end. Right now, like you say full stack. I don't know what the front end is at all, right? So maybe clarify that a little bit. But either way, I think you still need some more front end back end experience, generic full stack stuff. Putting 4 points here, 4 points here, I think is a bit overkill. Now, if you're going for more system stuff, going for more, like electrical engineering, that could be maybe a strategy. But for full stack software, I think this is a bit of a miss right now. So, hopefully you can improve that. All right, next one. All right, yeah, take care, Eric. Take care, Eric. All right. This guy, let's take a look. Okay, this guy's comment. Back end. A 1 word comment. Should I put a minimum word requirement, guys? What do you think? Holy, all right. Okay, well, back end. Let's see. Okay, this is a while ago now. Okay, cutting line turnaround time, ETL pipeline, in. Okay, deployed applications. Okay, that makes sense. Like 3 months. This is a pretty solid piece of work. Let's see. This is before that. This is let's take a look. Go-based gRPC, automated prevention service, okay, blah blah. Okay, a full. Okay, this is fine. It feels a bit bare, but that's fine, I guess. Okay. Projects. Okay, expiration. Okay, blah blah. Reduce cash. Okay. Need some dates. Dates. Need some GitHub. I need the dates in the GitHub. Okay. Let's take a look. React Native, Okta, WebSockets. That's pretty cool. That's good. Distributed cache, key value store, Raft, garbage collector, hash map, Unix, L1 amortized, LRU. That's a bit detailed, but that's fine. Optimize memory system cache hits. So what's the answer? Right? Kubernetes deployed on EKS. Okay. I feel like if we don't have numbers here, this is hard to. I think it's still a good project. I think it's just. I mean, you're missing half the points if you don't have the score. If you don't have the, if you don't have the stuff going on. I was told earlier that dates aren't important for products and just a GitHub link. Oh yeah, if you have a GitHub link, that's also okay because we can look at your commits. But some people, they're working on projects after commits, or the commits doesn't capture everything in the project. So that's where I put the dates on. And also, I would say dates are more important the further back your experience is. So I know you weren't the guy asking the question, or maybe you were. I don't know. But this guy's most recent experience is over 2 years ago. And if you're over 2 years ago experience, then, for a student, that's a pretty big deal. You know what I mean? So if this is 2023, these guys better be more recent, just to show you're working on something, right? So if you got recent employment or even better current employment, then it doesn't matter the dates because we ain't gonna look at the product at all. Basically, like those don't even matter. But if you're employed more than 2 years ago and now trying to get back in, that's gonna matter a lot more for your dates. All right, does that make sense? Hope that makes sense. All right, text to SQL transformer, blah blah. This whatever. That's fine. Okay, so this resume, pretty strong projects right now. So you identify correctly that the projects are the meat. Okay, this is, by the way, this is especially true. By the way, for students, when I mentioned, just to go on the previous point again, this is especially true for students because if your experience was 2 years ago, your level as a student grows substantially in 2 years. Okay, like look at this guy. This guy is 2026. Let's say they started school in 2022, right? Or maybe 2021. These guys 5-year degrees pretty often, right? So this means that this guy was doing this experience when they're a first and second year, and now they're doing these things. But I don't know when they did them, but let's say they did them recently. They're doing these guys in third and fourth year. Let's say fourth year for these guys, right? Now you can imagine in your head the difference in skill between a first and second year and a fourth year. Right? That's why the dates really matter, because these ones, if they're fourth year projects, maybe they're from the class, maybe they're from personal projects or something, right? That just puts a lot more weight on these projects. Now let's say the dates here. Now let's say for some reason this guy's projects weren't recent, and these guys are also 2022. Then people are gonna ask, well, what have you been doing in the last 3 years? Right? That's gonna be the new question. So you gotta keep in mind, especially these are recent products, which I assume they are based on the skill. That's a lot more important to put in. Now, like I said, this is on the right track. I'm assuming these products, probably this one is still under development, right? So, keep growing with it. These products are going to be they're much better than the employment experience here in terms of, skill. And I think the points are pretty well worded. I don't really have too much to comment on that one. Let me actually quickly see if they have a locality I can comment on. No. Okay. Otherwise, I think that's pretty strong. Keep working on projects. Hopefully get more employment soon, if that's your goal. All right, let's look at this guy. Look at this guy. Okay, this guy's comment is this guy. Yeah, this guy. Okay, mainly backend suite, trying for some system stuff with C++. C++. Okay. So C++ you better be good at. Let's take a look. U of T stuff going on. Boom, boom, boom. Angular, React, Django. A lot of stuff here. A lot of front end. Okay. Make file CSC, Jira, Agile, Jest, Postman. Okay, interesting. Okay. Okay, this is recent. This is a long time ago. These are long term. Okay, projects. Okay. Okay, AMD. What is your stuff here? Migration, test validation to Python, Perl, and Perl. You guys use Perl. Interesting. I didn't know that. 20 plus automation scripts covering stuff, refined sanity, regression test flow, refactor modularized as analysis tool Ruby, mentoring coming intro. Okay, so this is pretty test focused. Let me take a look at what you can, like what you're saying here. Using this menu, okay, this is good. I'm going to parse and convert to as an, okay. Python to automate parsing. Okay, that's good. Reducing failures type line kind of test cycles in here. Okay. Okay. Seashell and Pro. Okay. All right. So this is. I don't see. Wait, you said systems? Systems. Okay. This is not systems. So let's take a look. What do you have any systems? This is backend, Django, Postgres, query, some stuff. Analytics, okay, this is dashboard, okay. Got a bit of backend here. This is not too much backend, that's a bit of backend. Okay, full stack CRUD, React Django. Okay, some backend there, some more backend, okay, some database stuff. Okay. So, this is cool. By the way, this is cool. I like that. This is good. Back end stuff, I think this is fine. I assume you have already tried to tailor your AMD experience as much as possible to back end, in which case that's about as best you can do. Definitely a lot very test focused, but I think that's the best you can do. That's fine. It's not really going to be an issue. Systems, I'm not really sure. Maybe I don't understand what your goal is with systems. I don't see a single systems thing on this resume, so maybe you got to clarify what you mean by that. But yeah, if you're going for systems, I don't think this is quite set up correctly yet. Definitely start with some projects on systems, where I get some, even this guy, right? This guy has some systems, no, this guy, right? Some stuff over here. Hackathon's going to get into systems. Maybe a bit of hardware as well, that could be interesting, but yeah, maybe a misunderstanding, because I don't see any systems here. So make a new resume for that one. All right, this guy, let's take a look. All right, this guy's comment is full stack or infra. Okay. Full stack or infra. Oh, the resolution's a bit low. That's fine. We'll work with that. Shopify incoming. Wait, incoming. It's well past September, my guy. It's well past September, my guy. Okay. Okay, open source is pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool. Collaborating core dev team. That's cool. For this kind of work, you gotta put PRs in here. You gotta put a link to the GitHub. You gotta put a link. But I'm assuming this in GitHub. I don't actually know what this is. This is a platform like GitHub, or assume all the other ones like Bitbucket, Gitwarden, all of them have these kind of things. You can put like a search query in the URL that's like filtering to your PRs. You have to put something like that in so people can evaluate this kind of thing, especially if it's open source software where you're putting a lot of the weight of the point on there. That's going to be really important, so make sure you get that sorted. So you gotta make sure that gets sorted. Scoreboard redesign, okay, whatever, blah blah blah. Query load improvements 20% is pretty good. July to present, okay, that's fine. Okay, BC Children's Hospital. This is back to, wait, this is overlapping. Okay, yeah, this is overlapping. So been working continuously since. Is this part time, by the way? This is part time. I'm blind. Okay, so this is chill. Now you're back. Okay, this is before that you had. Oh, this is also overlapping. Oh, this is at the same time. Wait, what? Oh, this is at the same time. Okay, so you got two stuff going on here. Okay, and then before that you were also working. So you're working quite a bit. Okay. Okay, so you're going quite a bit. Okay. Let's take a look. ML infra, end-to-end ML ops, build deploy ML ops system, design build deployed. 8 months. Okay, that's fine. Automated this. Statistical analysis. Okay. Trading infra, Celery, asynchronous pipelines. Okay. To monitor Sturmal performance metrics, display loss errors in real time. Maybe you can improve this by saying what the value here was, right? Like, maybe you can say how many errors you guys caught. What was the benefit? Did you guys save anyone time, energy, etc.? That could be maybe improvement in that one. Access control, that's always good. Neurotech design team. Oh, this is a design team. I see. Okay. Real-time EEG streaming, asynchronous WebSockets, EEG signals, sub-second latency for real-time brainwave visualization, signal processing, digital filters, EEG. Okay, nice. Okay, I would also, I'm assuming this is C++. I would also just say this is in C++ as well. You already take out 2 lines anyway, so that's cool. That's good. UBC, part-time software full stack, department ticketing, React, Node, Postgres, enhanced. I would say how you enhance, like performance, features, etc. You want to clarify that one. Large SQL queries, blah 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 blah. Okay, that's fine. What is this? I need a date here for sure. Blah blah. Okay, this is some system stuff. But what's your goal again? I mean, this is what is it? This is. Yeah. So full stack infra. This is maybe this is more like systems, right? So systems is maybe less relevant, but it's only taking up 2 points anyway, so it's like whatever, it's fine. Should put links to the new issues you found. Unless those issues are big issues, I would say no. All right. Next. We are going overtime today. All right. Anyone who has submitted by now, I will review by the end of the stream. And if you haven't submitted by now, I will not review. This is the last one. Let me pin that one. Okay. Let's take a look. So this guy's caught. I'm trying to get past the applying part and past an ATS. Aiming to get into big tech at least once and then move forward towards fintech. Been having a bad time getting interviews for summer 2026. Any tech suite you have some experience. Okay. Going for big tech and then towards fintech is interesting. Usually it's the other way around. Fintech is generally going to be easier than big tech to get into. All right. Okay, this is recent. Products going on, leadership skills. Okay. Okay. A production scale cookieless advertising tech platform contributed to this. I mean, you definitely want to be more. If you're opening point, you definitely need you definitely need more detail here, right? Like, I mean, contributed could be anything. So you really gotta clarify and put in a bit more detail here. I would just start with that. Click-through rates. Click-through rates good. Reduce detail workflow downtime 80%. Automating critical jobs using temporal. Okay. This puts a bit weaker point. Let me see your other points. Reusable view composition API components. Develop interactive CLI tools. Version control under development for cross-functional teams. Okay, resolve pagination failures by implementing safe batching. Okay, I see. And in that case, I think this is fine. I would definitely expand that first point a bit just to kind of clarify, the platform, the situation. Other points are fine. I feel like this is a bit loose leaf. Now, obviously, you can't go back. This is done now. So, but just for future reference, especially for people who are watching and are currently employed, right? When you're working there, think about the kind of themes of things you're working on, right? So, for example, for this guy, the themes you might have thought of is, think about it as tech investment. So, tech investment would be something like this, right? This is tech investment. The first part of this thing is tech investment, right? Like in terms of improving developer experience. And a second thing you guys can think about is, like, for example, product results, product performance. So this guy's primary point here for product performance is increasing the click-through rate, right? So click-through rate is very good. That's basically the only thing that matters in advertising tech. So it's very good you put that here. Very good, that you identify that's the important stat. So that's good here. Now, what I would potentially do to, resume-wise is, now I wouldn't do it for this person, but you can consider doing is having subheaders. Okay, so what I would do is having your title, company, that's all fine, and then saying, let's say product work or product work here, and say contribute to Cipher, right? I don't know how to spell Cipher, and then say like 25% click-through rate, right? So that's very good, plus 25%. And then you can separately put like a tech investment, right? So this is where you use Vue, make some Vue components, right? Make some like tooling, right? This kind of, so you could have a little striation here. And the reason I might recommend this for this candidate or for people in general is if you only have one piece of experience. If you only have one experience, this is probably going to be the most important weight of the resume. And so you should not shy away from using Room. You should not shy away from going into detail here, because this is going to have a lot more weight than typical like products and whatnot. Okay, so depending on what this person has in terms of what they can fill in these subheaders for, this might be a good design. All right, next. C++, Qt, Python. Okay, good. Blog automation tool, end-to-end. Okay, this is cool. This is cool. I would if possible, put a link on this one, especially if you have an example of a blog. Or put the blog there, put the project there. That could be cool. Leadership. Okay. Website or hardware lead, 4-person dev team, president at this hackathon. Improve reliability, distributed speed. This is good. These two, the first two are more important. This last one, I don't know if it's worth a point. I mean, it's not bad, but like you already have ETL stuff over here. You already have tooling, develop tech investment. So this is less important here, right? If you think about it, the stuff you do over here would be a lot more valuable as shown in experience. So if you start running out of room, I will consider cutting this point. This is fine. This is fine. All right. Okay, what's this guy? What is this guy? Okay, what's this guy's comment? Internships, full stack, backend, pref, baked data. Okay. Okay, great all Vite. Okay. Let's take a look. This is recent as well. Performance, 50% chat responses, percent data trivia tool. Docker images, EC2. Okay. Okay. 50% faster chat responses. Faster chat responses. So I would say you need to clarify if faster here means latency or throughput. Otherwise, it's fine. IDP, migration. You can set user, minimal data loss. I like that. I deal with users all the time. That's painful. Jira PI. Okay. Okay. Deletion service. Okay. That's cool. This one you might want to, if you're going full stack data, this is a one you want to expand on right here, right? You expand on that one. AI features, deliver a self-service RAG platform, blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's kind of like whatever. This is the more important one you want to expand on. You might want to put another point here. If you're going for big data, right? This is a good one to talk about. The other ones are like whatever. Help undergrad. Okay, and that's like whatever. That's whatever. Okay. Okay. Leadership. Leading a team of 3 developers, 2 designers, build a club digital thing. Process payments, tooling, admin workloads, based RPCs. Okay. I mean, okay. Okay. First byte. This is a hackathon? What's the explore data analysis. Okay, this is good. Leverage data. Okay. Okay, cool. So this is interesting. This is some data here. This is some data here. I see some data. Perform explorative data analysis. I would probably elaborate a bit more. Right? Elaborate a bit more. Talk about some findings. Talk about what's going on. You know, this last point here I would say is less important than expanding on the details for what you guys found. Jarvis. Okay. Accessibility focused desktop app. LangChain. Okay, this is cool, but it's not really backend or big data. Student focused web app to convert images to calendar files, integrate with online calendars. Okay, that's some full stack. Again, right? That's full stack, but the thing is, if you're talking about Firebase, Firestore, that's not backend skills. So I would looks like okay. Expand on this experience, especially at this point. You can probably reduce the points over here substantially and rework this one to be more data focused. That's what I would do. All right, let's take a look. Okay, with their resume trying to land machine learning AI role, pursuing full stack. Okay, you need 2 resumes for this. You need an AI/ML role, and even if you're going serious for AI/ML, you need 2 resumes for that too as well, by the way. But let me take a look. Okay. Okay, this is 1 year ago. This is year before that. Okay. AI-driven debugging assistant created a design MySQL rate tables. Okay. Full stack visualization test cases. MD. Okay. Okay. Built predictive analytic models in Python. Assess behavioral health, achieving 80% accuracy, validation. Okay. Data cleaning, normalization pipelines, reinforcement learning outcome to optimize behavior, improving. Okay. Well, you got to quantify improvement, don't you? Deployed and developed data-driven traffic monitoring for 3 Canadian cities, achieving 9%. Okay. IoT AI model optimization. Okay. Full stack. There's room for full stack here, that's for sure. The only AI/ML thing I see is over here, right? Like you built the models using these tools, and you got 88% accuracy. If I'm not mistaken, I mean, is this AI through AI model optimization, parameter tuning? Okay, this is AI as well. Improved. Well, by how much, right? Reducing false positives, debugging regression testing, reducing false positives 20%. That sounds like an interesting point. Okay. You need I think if you're going to be serious in AI ML, you need like an AI ML project. Okay. This is not AI ML, right? This is using AI ML to do something else. This is not AI ML. This is front end. This is some back end. So full stack, you're kind of, you're a bit closer to full stack than AI ML. I would consider, if you don't have other projects, work on a project that's actually about building models, and then making a resume that's focused on that instead. Yeah, in the future, I mean, this happens every week, hopefully, unless I get sick or on vacation. The link's the same every time, by the way. So just tune in next time, and then you'll get your submission in. Yeah, the cutoff is done. I'm already over time. I'm just such a kind and benevolent person that I will stay a bit longer than usual. But usually these end at 1:30. All right. This guy's comment is, backend or DevOps. Don't review my whole resume because you did that. What scale should I aim for on my Kafka project? Make it impressive. Okay, I see. That's a good question. I like that. That's a target question. Planning to build a Python script generates fake stock data since there aren't many high throughput stock websites. WebSocket available for free. Also, is it 2 new products now? Should I come? Okay. What products are you talking about? You're talking about this one. And then 2 new projects. How many do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 5 projects and a club. Club is done now, though. Okay. All right. Matchmaking server creates and pairs selection. Okay. Okay. So what you would do is you would just cut this down, cut the points down. Okay. So what I will say is, first point, good. Don't need to say that. Workplace servers available comparing time. Combine these 2 points into 1 point about performance/latency. Do not take that one and put this one with the first point. Okay. What number is impressive? Okay, what are you going for? Backend or DevOps? Okay, well, obviously, DevOps, this is irrelevant. This is not a DevOps project. Backend wise, huh? Okay. You're at 900 requests per second from Binance and FinHub WebSockets, and you need to generate more, right, because you need more data. Okay. What I would do here is, those are 2 questions, right? The first question is, what's impressive? 900 per second is already pretty impressive in that you're not actually using this to like trade crypto. So it's like, okay, this is useful for your test case. This is fine. What I would do is I would see, I don't know how you're deploying this right now, by the way. I don't know what's going on, but I would see, what are you limited on right now, right? Like, for example, if you're limited on data, well, that's easy to fix, right? Like you said, you can generate data, you can batch data and send it off. You can reduplicate data rather, send it off that way, right? There's other ways to increase artificially like that, right? But what I'm saying is if you're bottlenecked on, let's say, network speed, that should be easy to fix. Host this on AWS, get that ready to go. And by the way, for proving your architecture's throughput / performance, you do not need to have it continuously host on AWS, right? Like you can just put it on there for, let's say, a day, right? Run all your performance regression testing, whatever it is, right? Run it on there as a proof of concept, right? Get your performance, get your benchmarks in, right? Just to prove that you can do it, and then turn it off, right? Save your cost, go back to doing whatever you're doing that might be a bit cheaper, right? So when people are talking about performance, that's not about like what is actually necessarily happening. It could also be an indication of how much it can handle, right? So that's a little tip for you there. And as for generating data, yeah, just generate fake data. Like no one cares. Otherwise, you could also, otherwise, like I said, you're not the framing of this project is more technical than it is about making money. So because it's technical, the quality of the data matters a lot less, and there's a lot more emphasis on other aspects. So I think you nail that part. That part's totally fine. It's not an issue at all. Otherwise, you could probably cut some points. I mean, if you want to increase the points over here, for example, you could probably put the links in this one over here. You can probably put if it's just like this one, for example, you should probably keep down there. This one it won't fit, so that's okay. But that's some of the strategies you can use to save room. This is a good project. You could definitely cut lines here somehow. What would I cut? What would I cut? Deployed on this thing. I mean, these 2 points you can combine. For example, you really don't need a name drop Grafana Cloud Alloy. This is like a non-skill. I'm sorry. So this is a good thing. Put this in over there. That's good, right? Ooh, you deploy? Okay. Oh, it's a migrated from. Okay, never mind. Okay. That's chill. A lot of community focus here. I mean, honestly, I don't. Maybe there's not too much you can cut. You can combine some points there. This one, for example, is quite verbose. Do you have SQL listed elsewhere? You have SQL listed here, so this is not useful. Discord bot, do you have Discord bot listed here somewhere? Discord bot's listed over here, so this point's not useful. Daily tracking leaderboard. Okay, so what I could say is that first point you could probably rebrand. First point, don't talk about the tech very much, right? Just talk about what it is. And the 2 tech points you have already are covered in the header already, so you can probably save space that way. All right, let's take a look. I'll do like 3 more, I think. Yeah, I think I'll do like 3 more. All right. Will I need to submit again if mine does not get reviewed today? Yes, you will need to submit next time I do the review. I mean, or you don't have to submit again. If you're in the chat and you tell me your email for some reason, then yeah, I can find it again, but just submit it again. It's not hard. Okay, this guy's comment. Looking for back-end infra development roles. Feel like I'm missing a lot of technology skills, especially with regards to full stack cloud. Starting a project and learn about React, Docker, AWS. Besides that, curious to know the quality of my bullet points and formatting issues. Formatting issues, fine. Formatting is fine. This I would probably line up a little bit. Oh, never mind. It is lined up. Damn, it looks like it's not lined up. Am I crazy? But it is lined up, right? It is lined up. Yeah. Okay, now you're good. Oh, I actually got a fucking. I actually tripping here. Okay. Quality of bullet points. Okay. It's fine, it's fine. Load aware, fine. Bit too much bolding, by the way. Bit too much bolding. I will cut your bolding in half. It's fine. N+1 and efficiency, Ruby on Rails, active record. Whole point for that. You were here for a year. A whole point for that. This is a bit iffy. I think it's still good though, because you have good data on that one. I think you should keep it. That's fine. Vacuum polling drops, pre-real-time responses, reducing the server load. You have a data for this one, that'd be great, but otherwise it's still okay. Memory viz, that's like whatever. Are you going for a full stack? Let's see. This point's kind of a waste for not going for a front end. Okay, you were concerned about not having enough cloud exposure. How are these deployed? I mean, your projects. This is a hackathon. What is this? This is deployed. This is not deployed? I don't know. Oh, this is an app. Oh, no, it's a chat. Wait, what is this? Oh, this is an app. Okay, so it's playing on your phone. Okay. This is full stack on Next.js. Okay, yeah, so you're missing a cloud. I would, yeah, put a product with a cloud. React, Docker, AWS, yeah, those three sound good. You're going for backend/infra though. Definitely don't focus on the React part of that. Like between this and whatever you're doing at Shopify, you'll probably have enough front end. I would focus more on the back end if I were you. Am I doing resumes tomorrow? No, I do them usually every Saturday, but you should join the Discord to find out. All right, second last one. Let's take a look. Ooh, is that a phone number? No, it's not. Nice. Okay. All right. Comment is 2026 summer software internship goal suite not trying to aim only for full stack, open to backend, full stack, cloud, DevOps, data, real software work learn. Okay. Sounds like what you care about more as a company than not the role then, really, but what am I looking at here? Where's your backend? Your backend is Node. Spring Boot Node. Okay, that's pretty strong. Frontend is pretty strong. Okay, you have the skills. Okay. Let's see. Okay. If you have a better starting point that summarizes you're still working here right now, obviously, but summarizes any themes, that would be better to put as first point. Otherwise, it's fine. That's good. Okay. This is good. This is fantastic. I love seeing links. That's whatever. Okay. Points for the experience could be improved. I mean, you've been here for quite a few. You're gonna very soon be here for like 6 months, right? Like, I feel like someone looking at this and going, okay, guy's been here 6 months. He's done these 4 things, or she. I don't know her name. I think that would be hard to justify. So, if you have more bullet points to put here, that's going to be important. Putting points here is going to be more important than probably putting points elsewhere. Okay, so in terms of priority, this should be the first priority. The points you have here are fine, but they're not very cohesive. Like it's hard to tell if you were, for example, working on one project or you're just working on a bunch of other stuff, a bunch of random stuff. Right now, it sounds like you're doing a bunch of random stuff, which I mean, if you don't have a say in, that's the best thing you can do. I understand, but if you can talk a bit about any themes that come up, or if you had an overarching project or goal that you're being evaluated against, that would be very important to put in if you could. Okay, all right. A question here is 70k RPS good for Kafka? You can just partition by stocks at 1k RPS 70. Yeah, that's good. I mean, especially if you're talking about, for example, you're talking about any broad applications, that would be good. Ideally, you could talk about what you're actually like, what you can benefit from the data with. But again, I understand it's a project; it's just for fun, not a big deal. But 70k RPS is going to be good. I mean, look, even 700 is good. And most people, especially students, don't even know what a Kafka is. So you're ahead of the curve on that one. I'll give you that. All right, last one for today. Last one for today. All right. Let's take a look. Does it work? Okay, it did work. Why my YouTube just glitch out? Oh, well, comment on Twitch. Hello, my one Twitch viewer. Can you show the best resumes I've ever seen after? I, unfortunately, do not have permission to show the best resumes because they are from real people. So I can't show that, unfortunately. There were some past on the stream, I don't know off the top of my head anymore, that were very strong. but I'll keep an eye out. Generally speaking, by the way, for those kind of, I don't know if you're from the Discord or not. In a Discord, I would just go around and ask, say, hey, you know what? That's a good question to ask on Discord. Also, people generally won't. People might not share their resumes, but they'll tell you some aspects about what they see that are really good. So that's and a big one for me, for example, I do a lot of resume reviews like for work, like not just for like fun and stuff. And what I will say is that I think is really that is rare, and this is like a rare one that I see is good. Is people who it's not that they tailor the resume for the job, it's that they understand what is really critical for the job and they develop and they talk about that, right? For example, and a common one is let's say it's a full stack role, but the company's more front end oriented. Well, one point that people oftentimes don't talk about on the front end is they don't talk about all the data science aspects of the front end, right? They don't talk about all of the aspects or the features they built that increase revenue, right? That's one I think is really important. Another one on that in the same vein of front end is they don't talk a lot about performance on the front end, right? Everyone's talking about performance on the back end. Well, performance on the front end also is really important. So when you see people who are a bit more senior, of course, and they talk about these lesser known topics, that's how you know that this person really knows what they're doing about, or they know what they're talking about, and they know what they're doing. So what I'd say is think about aspects on resumes that are not often shared. Now, oftentimes the ones that are common are important. That's what they're common. So put that in as well, right? But a lot of the points on resumes that are not common but are just as important, that's what I find to be really differentiating for more senior people, especially. So that's a little note for you there. I unfortunately don't actually have an example of that right now, so I can't share anything. But I'll keep my eye out for you. Okay. All right, this guy. Targeting full stack software engineer roles with focus on back end development. My goals are breaking into big tech. Focus on back end development here. We got some stuff going on. Obviously, split that one out right away. We got Django, Flask, Spring, Node. Okay, so got a lot of back end just right off the bat. That's good. Shopify incoming. That's good. What's going on here? This is why is okay. You've been here for 6 months now, yeah? Why do you only have 1 point here? I feel like this is maybe the name will reveal what's going on here, but I feel like my first point is why is this only 1 point? I don't know what's going on there. Next.js backend secure. Okay, so I would talk about that, right? What made your Next.js backend scalable, right? Next.js is basically its own hosting service. So are you saying it's scalable just because you're using Next, right? Like for example, if you have a more involved or advanced backend, right? What are you doing with that, right? Like what are you doing that? Like there's a lot you can talk about here. I think you have to elaborate on this one. This is just too wishy-washy. Advanced engineering team and agile sprints. Okay, so this is a bit of a point that I will probably start removing now that you're going to be that can be out of room. This is not that relevant, especially for the cases where you're talking about backend, right? Like this is not really relevant, so get rid of that one. Instructor is fine. I would probably start reducing some of the points here as well as you run out of room. Next.js, this is going to be front end as well, so limited backend work over here. Okay, YouTube clone, engineer, video streaming platform supporting uploads, playback, secure authentication. Leveraging a Firebase, secure auth, real time. Okay. Firebase? Okay. I'll let it slide. I'll give you an example. So, an example here of obviously I know who this person is, right? So I know they're a student, but an example of what differentiates people that are more senior is experience in actually using technologies. For example, this is actually so famously well known. You can find really funny memes on Reddit, right? Firebase is famously unscalable. It is one of the most famous technologies that absolutely blows up in your face when you get any the production scale work, right? Both the cost and the performance, by the way. So, look, I'm gonna let you slide by calling Firebase scalable, but I'm just gonna let you know that this is one of the differentiating factors. This is pretty big proof that you're not actually using Firebase at a large scale. Now, that doesn't mean you can't call it scalable. Right, you don't have to use it at a large scale to say it's scalable, right? Like the previous Kafka guy is saying, right? The previous Kafka guy told them, hey, you can where the hell does this guy go? Like you can just temporarily put it on a strong platform to show that your architecture can support very large throughput, but for your day-to-day usage, you can put it back on your local host, right? Like that's totally fine. But in this case, for Firebase, you're not local hosting Firebase. Obviously, this is a service. So that wouldn't apply to this case, and so this is a bit harder to give this a pass, right? But I mean, like, you're still making overall good features. This still makes sense for a personal project, right? So I think this is totally fine for the use case, but just keep that in mind, okay? All right. Coin jar, some stuff over here, blah blah, some front end. Okay, well, front end's whatever. All right. I mean, some reorganization is needed for the points here. Obviously, as you get Shopify, you have some months to work there. Get those points in line. That's gonna be the most important thing, and then come back after. Come back after we give you some more, some more feedback there. All right. That is all for today. I am going to end the stream. Thanks.